What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing good. Today we're going to begin our skill videos for soccer. Again, like with every other unit we've done so far, these videos are just giving you examples and I'm kind of teaching you what these different skills and strategies are in real life, but in a way that you can practice them at home. Soccer is usually a pretty easy one. It's not like tennis or maybe flag football where we don't have that equipment. Most everybody at their house has some kind of ball or some kind of round object that they can kick around a little bit. So hopefully you guys, when you're practicing these skills, you can find some equipment, but even if you can't, you can still practice. So we're gonna go ahead and begin our videos off with dribbling. This is kind of like basketball, one of the most common things that happens in the game of soccer. The only difference is we dribble with our feet and our legs instead of our hands, because we know that from our videos last week that in soccer you don't use your hands except for two reasons, but we'll get into that later. So starting off with dribbling, if you've had good physical education at all in your time in school, you know that obviously whenever you kick a soccer ball, you don't kick it with your toes. You contact the ball with the inside of your foot or the outside, depending on where that ball is, and we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But first off, with our dribbling, I want to make sure you guys can see my feet clearly. So if you have a ball at home, this is what I want you to do. All you're going to do is kind of stand over it with it in between your feet, and you're just going to dribble in place. So all you have to do for that is tap the ball back and forth with your foot. And as that ball is coming to your feet, you're just going to make contact with it softly and try to keep that ball in control where you are in between your feet. That's all that's going to look like. It's simply going to be a tap, catch, tap, catch, tap, catch, tap, catch, tap. Simple as that. And you're trying to keep it in control where you are. That's all it is. That's a stationary dribble. Here's the thing. In soccer, like all of our other sports, there's not going to be that much time where you are staying still. So now let's move on to a moving dribble. All right, guys, so now we're going to move on to dribbling and moving. So we're going to move away from being still and stationary to more of a game-like situation where obviously we would be running. So if you see these chairs, don't worry about them. Those are just markers for me so I don't go too far and get off camera so you guys can't see me. But first, we're just going to start with walking. I think that's a good first step, especially if you're new to soccer. So it's going to be that same thing, that same tap, tap, tap with the inside of your foot, but you're just going to walk around some. You don't have to go fast. You don't have to kick the ball far out in front of you. You just want to keep it close to you so you have control of it. And you're just going to walk and tap. You do a little bit of a hop because you got to hop from one foot to the other. So it's more of a fluid motion. But that's all it is. It's just a simple tap and catch, and then while you're walking around, you can start to experiment a little with the outside of your foot, but just make sure you keep that ball under control. With soccer, it's very important to keep that ball close to you when you're dribbling, because if you let it get too far out in front of you, it's going to be way more easier to steal than if you have it with you in control, unless you're making a pass, okay? So now that we've looked at walking, now let's go on to jogging. So we're gonna speed it up a little bit. And again, it's that same thing, those same cues with that tap. It's just now, we're gonna be going a little bit faster. See, I speed up a little bit. Now I'm really gonna start to use the outside of my feet some, depending on where that ball is. You guys see I'm just going in circles around here. So that's what that's going to look like. Just a simple jog while you tap that ball either with the inside of your foot or the outside of your foot. Remember again, you do not want to contact the ball with your toes because that's going to make it go all over the place. Instead, you want to do it with the inside or the outside of your foot. And that's all we have for dribbling. Now what we're going to do is move on, I think, to passing. So that's another very important skill in soccer, one that happens again a lot similar to basketball, where you got to get that ball to somebody else, because as we talked about, you're not always going to be open. So let's look at that now.